books. So Bukhari Muslim is all made up. So nothing is going to be used for validity if they say, well, your own sources, you're contradicting your own sources. If you use this hadith to show that Ali had a problem with Umar and Abu Bakr, and that the relationship that they had to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had an Islamic, or it gave them precedence Islamically, such as being the caliph before Abu Bakr, then you also have to mention how Ali, according to this made-up hadith, clearly acknowledged Abu Bakr's superiority. And if not, you're going to be contradicting yourself. Wallahu ta'ala alam. والسلام عليكم جبريل تفضل. طيب جزاك الله خيرا. Can you pray for a deceased non-Muslim? Can you send condolences to the family? Can you or should you go to the funeral? Jazakallah khairan. As far as not praying for the soul of the deceased non-Muslim, clear, green check. Not sending condolences to the family, I wouldn't say it's haram. You can say something kind to a non-Muslim, and you can make certain types of dua for a living non-Muslim, certain things. And perhaps your kindness and your humanity and sympathy and empathy could be a means of them becoming a Muslim. It's like you telling a non-Muslim, have a nice day. It doesn't mean that you're pleased with their kufr. If they're going to go make sure to go drink alcohol, just in general, have a nice day. Be safe, in general. يعني وقول يعني بالتي هي أحسن يعني حسنى is just good words. So if you say, look, I'm sorry for your loss, his spiritual standing, hellfire, I'm not talking about that. I'm sorry that you are bereft of a family member, that you know, khair inshallah. As far as going to the funeral, then obviously it depends. A family member who's a non-Muslim, you going to the funeral is much more than just praying or condolences, but that's also qaraba, yani. That's, you know, keeping good relationship with your family. You'd have to go make shirk. I don't want to go into the cathedral or the synagogue or wherever, the temple, but the burial, general respect for the dead, the Prophet ﷺ, he stood up. مرت به جنازة يهودي قالوا يا رسول الله إنها جنازة يهودي أليست نفسا؟ أليست نفسا؟ حتى يهودية يعني. He stood up for the funeral of a Jewish person when it passed him by. And they said, oh, Messenger of Allah is a Jew. And he said, isn't it a human being? Still a human. Death is still to be respected, even of whoever dies. So in general, a family member is not like someone who isn't a family member. And obviously it's permissible to bury a mushrik family member. The Prophet said to Ali, bury him. He was a mushrik. Okay, so it's lawful to bury a non-Muslim. It's lawful. You attending the funeral out of condolences for your family or giving them dawah? Khair, inshallah. And if you don't want to do that, then you stay away from it. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Abu Habib? Wallahu alam. Faddal. Roommate, yani? It's a matter of ijtihad. It can go either way. It can still be a means of dawah, and it can still be a means of just respect for a human, my co-worker, nothing to do with deen. You understand? Wallahu alam. It's possible. يعني قد يكون يخرج على يعني مخرج حسن. والله أعلم. وإياكم. تفضل يا أخي. تفضل. وفيكم.
My question is, during Salah, I've noticed a lot of brothers, the backside will show. Is it obliged for me to say something?
If you are in the masjid and you see that your brother's backside is out, no doubt. مَنْ رَأَى مِنْكُمْ مُنْكَرًا فَلْيُغَيِّرْهُ بِيَدِهِ. Rather, one could say that it is your Islamic obligation to what? Hitch up his britches. One could say, I never said that, Nafis. I never said that. But one could say what? That it's what? All right, so what would Umar do if he saw that? This is a serious question. He would probably what? He'd probably whip the guy. He would probably ask him, are you even a Muslim? Are you a Yahudi? You're in the house of Allah and you show the believers and the Muslims you're what? It's a serious question, wallahi. How much respect do you have for Allah's house? Would you go into to work like that? Would you stand in front of your boss or your CEO? Or would you show him your buck? Would you? You wouldn't. Would you go in your grandmother's house like that or whatever? You wouldn't. You would cover up. House of Allah, the mu'minun, the believers, sa'imun, mutasaddid, all the believers, yani, they can see my behind, there's nothing. I can pray in front of Allah and show them my backside. That's disrespectful. So if you see that, it may be your Islamic obligation to fix it. Nudge them. Oh, what's wrong with you, man? Come here. And obviously, people are ignorant. We live in a time of ignorance. You have to be wise. You have to use hikmah, rifq. Definitely say something. Don't let it go unmentioned. Speak to the imam. Somebody has to speak up. And the last thing I'll say, we know that it is permissible for a Muslim man to wear pants. It's not haram. It's not obligatory to wear thobe, Emirati, Kuwaiti, Khalid. You don't have to wear thobe. You don't have to wear an izar. You don't have to wear a Gambian or Nigerian, Sudanese. If you have a problem with culture, I'm not Pakistani. I'm not Arab. I'm not Bosnian. Okay, no one asked you to be. No one in their right mind said you have to be Arabian or you have to be African. No one said that. But you do have to dress modestly and respectfully. So whatever you have from your American culture, that's what you need to put on before you pray. Whatever that may be, whatever Americans wear, which is modest, whether that's a graduation gown, which originally comes from Arabs, Islamic Spain, wherever, Indonesian, Malaysian, I don't like Arabs, no problem. Cover yourself. Khudhu zinatakum. You should not pray in pants if you can help it. If you have an izar or a towel, whatever, put it on. No doubt about it. And the simple, easy way out of all of these problems is for you to just wear a what? You ain't got to worry about pulling it up. You ain't got to worry about tucking it. You ain't got to worry about it falling down. You just what? Bang. And the same applies to women who don't want to wear an abaya. She'll wear a loose dress, a loose skirt, a big long shirt. Wouldn't it be easier to just put on one piece with a long kimono? Wouldn't that be easier? Instead of you having to worry about this. So that's my advice. You don't have to wear thobe. You can wear pants if they're loose and if they're above your ankles. But when it comes to pray, have a what? An izar with you and put it on. Have a shalwar kameez and what? Put it on. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. And there are other problems with wearing pants in the masjid as well. May Allah help us all. Fadal.
If you're walking around like that, isn't it disrespectful? Like even if you're not praying or anything.
Of course, no one is supposed to see your odor, except for your wife or that witch. Yaminu Nafis. What qira'ah is that, Sheikh Hassan? Is that a qira'ah? Qara bihi man, yani. What Nafis owns. Allahu musta'an. May Allah help us all. Fadl akhi, Grandmaster. And salam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Habibi.
Someone asked me a question whether or not, what's better, the Muslim ruler who's oppressive, a tyrant, or the non-Muslim ruler or leader who's benevolent?
Understood. Who's better, al-hakim, al-Muslim, al-zalim, or a just non-Muslim ruler? In general, the worst Muslim is going to be better than, in general, because he has iman. There's nothing as superior to iman, no matter how low it may be. They will be taken out of the fire because they said, La ilaha illallah. No matter how long he's in the hellfire, he'll be removed because of the basic iman that he has. So that's the general rule. With regards to a sinner, or this or that, that's the general rule. And obviously, if he's a Muslim, he has to fear Allah. You being a ruler, yani, it's a long discussion. Allah yani, gives you something, you don't. How can you just take the nobility with ignoring the responsibility? That's unfair. All right? That's unfair. Ala kulli hal, the Muslim should be advised, ittaqillah. You'll be asked on the day of judgment about you being a ruler, you being in charge of men, and you did not do your job correctly. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Fadal.
Sheikh, if there's an older person leading the salah, or the brother, whoever, the imam is leading the salah, and it takes long to go to sujood, he makes Allah, and a lot of people, they're following him, they make the sujood before him. What is the ruling on that? And also giving the salam back to a non-Muslim.
As far as the first question, it is haram for you to beat the imam to the position. And if you do so, your prayer will become invalid. So regardless of the reason why he's taking so long, you have to hold your horses. The imam shouldn't say the takbir until he's already there. Well, regardless of that, if we know that he made the takbir and he needs a few more seconds, you gotta wait. And if you go ahead of the imam, there goes your prayer. And we know what the Prophet ﷺ told us about the one who makes the ruku' before the imam, the one who precedes the imam, and yuhawwal ra'sahu ra'su aw ra'sa himar. It's a very interesting story that some of the people of hadith have mentioned, some of the ulama. There was a muhaddith, kabir, hafiz. He would give ijaza. لكن لا يجيز الطلب إلا من وراء الكرتن يعني الحجاب. He would never show his face. He would give the ijaza, they would read to him, they would study him. He always was behind the curtain. So one day, the story says, I'll show you the source of the story, all right? Those who mention the story from the ulama of the past. The student who studied with him for some time said, Sheikh, I would like to see your face. I want to see your face. So he asked him, are you sure? He said, yes. فَكَشَفَ الْحِجَابِ. He pulled the curtain back. فَإِذَا رَأْسُهُ رَأْسُ حِمَارٍ. And he said he had a donkey's head, a donkey's ruts. And the student was shocked, what is this? And he explained that he made fun of that hadith and disregarded that hadith and turned away from that hadith. It's impossible. How would Allah turn his head into a donkey? And he did it, and Allah what? Is that a true story? Allahu alam. Al-qissa madhkura fi kutub al-tarajum madhkura. Allahu alam ما يترتب عليه حلال وحرام عقيدة وردت ذكرت. The story is mentioned. More the story is you are not to go before the imam no matter what, period. And as far as giving salams back to a kafir, then the best thing to do is not or say wa alaykum, even though there is a discussion on is it absolutely haram to say wa alaykum as-salam to a kafir. Wallah, but you should avoid it for sure and at least say wa alaykum. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Next question, anybody else? From online, we'll come back inshallah.
This is TL from Mogadishu, Somalia. What do you have to say about sisters wearing high heels?
What do I have to say about sisters wearing high heels? Nothing wrong with high heels. Hey, fashion, style, that is. Wear high heels as high as you want. As long as you're safe and hopefully you don't get chased by a bad guy one day, you have to run. There's nothing wrong with that. You want to wear stilettos or this brand, go ahead. Not in front of a non-mahram, no. That's the catch. High heels are not haram, inshallah, but a man on the street is not supposed to see you wearing high heels. Somebody at work or someone who's not your mahram is not supposed to see you wearing high heels. In the house, your husband, khair. Wallahu alam.
This is MU from Los Angeles, California. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. What is your opinion on the status of as-Suddi al-Kabir? I've seen the muhaddithin differ about him due to his tashayyur. Jazakallah khair.
على كل حال السدي الكبير or الصغير, the general قاعدة of يعني هذا مسألة رواية المبتدع أو رواية من رمي بالبدعة. Can you narrate from an innovator or a person of innovation, etc.? To keep things brief, not too dramatic. Most 9 out of 10 people today who talk about this don't know what they're talking about. They don't know their foot from their elbows. Students, du'ats, graduates, whatever you want to call them. And scholars who talk about it, not all, but most who talk about it, يتخبطوا في المسألة، تخبط يعني خبط عشواء. Or they know the truth, but they tell the people other than that. You can absolutely narrate anything, the Salaf narrate anything, la. You can't take anything, they didn't take anything, la. They didn't say this or that, absolutely, but there's detail. So whether it's Suddi al-Kabir or any other Rawi, Tabi'i, there are several Tabi'in and others who came after the Tabi'in, رمي بالإرجاء، رمي بالقدر، رمي بالتشيع، بل هو متشيع، بل هو خارجي. All right, so it depends on the narrator, it depends on the narration, and it depends on his level of integrity and trustworthiness. Nah? And most importantly, everybody didn't agree on every single accusation. Just because you said he's this doesn't mean the Imam Fulan believes, Bukhari. Ahmed said he was this, Bukhari said he wasn't. So the scholars of hadith, they differed on these things, just as the scholars of fiqh different on these things. And when you study ilm al-rijal, ilm al-jarh wa ta'dil, this is known as wujuh al-ta'ni fi al-rawi غير العدالة والضبط. بل قد يدخل هذا الكلام في مسألة العدالة. على تفاصيل يعني, there are details regarding that. Narrating from a person who's a Shi'i. Can you benefit from him? Did they benefit from him, etc. Last but not least, the modern day issue. Sheikh Ahmed says something in a lecture, a 2-hour lecture, and I go to 45, 36, clip and paste. He says this, he believes this provocative title, and I make this campaign against him, even though he's been teaching Bukhari and Muslim for 20 years at his masjid. He's been teaching Kitab al-Tawheed, Aqidah Wasatiyah for 20 years at his masjid. He's cleaned up the streets in his masjid. People accepted Islam through him. They made hajj. He's benefited his community. 45 minutes out of his lecture, I take this one sentence and make a campaign against him and force him to accept my interpretation. And if he doesn't accept my interpretation, he rejected the advice, we warn against him, we campaign against him, we boycott him. Akhi, you can't do this. This is wrong. This is jarh wa ta'dil. It's not jarh wa ta'dil. That's not jarh wa ta'dil. And whoever told you that's jarh wa ta'dil either lied to you or they're ignorant. That's not. Are there similarities and parallels? Of course. Ash-shahada, the discussion of testimonies. There are many parallels of the fiqh rulings pertaining to al-jarh wa ta'dil. No one in their right mind is going to say ilm al-jarh wa ta'dil is ilm al-fiqh. Abadan. No one but a moron or an idiot would say that. But there are what? There's similarities. Thus in dawah, rad al-mukhalif and this and that, they're going to be what? Similarities, but it does not mean me speaking about this one, talking about this one is ilm al-jarh wa ta'dil. Ilm al-jarh wa ta'dil is ilm al-hadith, pertaining to the narratives of hadith. Not me and Sheikh Ahmed differing and bickering and arguing, so on and so forth. So beware of that. And anyone who's agendifying Islam for their own personal gain, then he will meet Allah on Yawm al-Qiyamah. Shaykh or Da'iyah. فَحِسَابُهُ عَلَى اللَّهِ. That's between him and Allah on the Day of Judgment. So beware of that. For those who say we can't take from this one, okay, no problem. If it's jarh wa ta'dil, then let's apply it then. Here's a Khariji, Imam Ahmed, narrated from him. I thought you said it was jarh wa ta'dil. Oh, it's different. And this is why we have the mess that we have today. May Allah allow us not to be ignorant and not to follow our desires, and to be sincere. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Fadal.
And this is MA from Hyderabad, India. Assalamu alaikum, Mufti. Can you give an easy way to understand the definition of waswasa such that I am able to differentiate between normal thoughts and waswasa?
Al-waswasa is a smoke screen. It's a trick that your own mind plays on your sound mind. And this trick is inflated and amplified by the shaitan. So the waswasa could be based off of clinical reasons. You have too much of this chemical, you have too much of that, something genetic or hereditary. And of course the shaitan is going to expand it. And he's going to attack you about the most precious things to you. Your iman, your belief in Allah. I'm not a real Muslim. I have doubts about Allah. I have doubts about the Quran. I need to take my shahada again. I need to commit suicide because I'm not a real Muslim. That's the shaitan. And if he can't get you to he can't take away from your iman, the next thing is the salah. And obviously there's no salah without what? لا يقبل الله صلاة أحدكم إذا أحدث لا تقبل صلاة بغير ولا صدقة من غلول. So you can't pray without wudu and ghusl. So therefore, I need an hour to make wudu. My ghusl is invalid. There's a small, tiny speck, drop of urine. The cat used the bathroom, and then it licked its behind, and then came on a prayer rug. So therefore, and the shaitan, this is real life stuff. Wallahi, this is real life stuff. The shaitan is going to bring each and every single technicality preventing you from having a sound wudu. That way you don't pray. Or Sheikh Uthaymeen said this, Albani said that, and he's going to bring every justification. And if he doesn't attack your salah, or he does, he's going to attack your friendships. I smell, I stink, I can't hang out, I smell bad. Your wife, divorce. Oh, I read Surah Talaq, so therefore am I divorced? Did I divorce my wife? Wallahi, I'm dead serious. I can't say the T word or the D word. Wallahi, that severe. Is my wife married to me? Do I have to take her back? I hesitated, I had doubts. Or the woman, that's the man. Divorce, you divorce me, that's all from the shaitan. To separate a man from his wife. So the waswas is a trick, and is using a small thing that has some validity, and then enlarging it and making you feel that you have to listen and obey and take precaution. And then obviously, it's a downward spiral. So beware of the waswas. So any question pertaining to a doubt about aqeedah or belief is automatic waswas. Any question or doubt about wudu or tahara, the leather socks, I had a rip in my sock, automatically waswas. Any question or doubt about marriage and divorce is automatically waswas. Leave it be. Any question. Sheikh, I got a question, my wife. Waswas. Anything. Hands down. End of discussion. Wallahu ta'ala alam.
Initials TA from Baltimore, Maryland. Do you know if Yemenis are okay with marrying their daughters to a revert or non-Arab Yemeni? What about Pashtuns? How do they view these kind of scenarios? Would it be okay or no?
You have to ask the Pashtun, and you have to ask the Yemeni. I'm neither of the two. Alhamdulillah, I'm from the lost tribe of Shabazz. That's the lineage that I know of best. Yemenis and Pashtuns, you have to ask them. Were they married into revert? Allahu A'lam. I'm from West Philly. We eat cheesesteaks and soft pretzels and root for the Eagles. Next question.
Initials DD from Manchester, UK. Why would Fatima not talk to Abu Bakr after
Next
being told
question. We said not to ask this, Ahmad. Next question.
Yeah. Initials.
And then the hadith is clear. It's clear. It's clear. She became what? Upset. Fatima, radiallahu anha, with all of her virtue, is still a what? Do not forget that. She's a human being that needs Allah's good pleasure and mercy and forgiveness. She is insana. She's from the daughters of Adam. Period. There's no ishkal. It's no problem. She's a human. Radiallahu anha wa ardaha. Mahad. Why does it say Fatima alayha salam? It's a very interesting question. Obviously, it's permissible for you to say alayhi or alayka salam to a Muslim. As the Prophet ﷺ clearly said in the hadith, Salah, all right, Ibn Abi Awfa, all right? So that in general, but it is traditionally used for the prophets, messengers, angels. But it's not haram to say alayhi salam for a sahabi. The problem comes in, why do you specifically point out Fatima or Ali? Why can't you say alayhi salam to Abu Bakr? Karramallahu wajhahu. Why can't you say that for Abu Bakr or Umar or Uthman? Why is it only for Ahlul Bayt? Is there proof for that? So at the end of the day, you have to understand something about the modern day books and books being printed. There are things that come from a person who was a nasikh, nusakh. A printer of the book, the scribe, he may not even be upon any aqidah. It's just my job to do what? To bind the book together. And sometimes people, they do what? They add their little stuff. So there are things that crept into the books from people who had some, tendencies. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. You got a problem with that, akhi? With Fatima, Zahra? يخرج من المسجد ولا يعني what would Imam Ahmed say if there was a Rafidi in the masjid in Jilsa in Baghdad? What would he do? He would be thrown to the streets of Baghdad or not? Allahu musta'an. Fadl.
HJNYC Brooklyn. Yeah, Sheikh, what's the reason for the West African names being Babukar, Abu Bakr, and
Bubakar?
Mamadou? Yeah. We touched on this topic.
Once again, roots, Allahu Alam, the roots come from West Africa. That's one madhab. Some madhabs say that black Americans are indigenous to this land. That's a madhab. It's a long discussion. You got to ask the Muslims from West Africa, Senegal, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Nigeria, Burkina Faso. Obviously, you read the history of Islam in West Africa, how it spread, the languages mixing, the dialects, so on and so forth. Wallahu a'lam.
Initials TA from Baltimore, Maryland. How to get over fear of public speaking. I recently had 2 presentations I had to do and started getting nervous and making a crazy face and twitching a little
How
bit.
to get over the fear of public speaking? Well, if you have to do it, then you have to face the fear, dead on. If you don't have to publicly speak, then at least know how to do it to a limit when you have to, if I have to say something. But if you're going to be a public speaker, an imam or sheikh or a CEO or a supervisor or whatever, then you got to confront the fear. Seek Allah's protection, seek Allah's refuge, and make tawassul. Call upon Allah, al-Qawi, al-Aziz, to give you strength, to give you confidence, to give you the esteem. That's first and foremost. That's a spiritual cure. And read what Musa alayhi salatu wasalam said. He was afraid. Okay? وَاحْلُلْ عُقْدَةً مِّن لِسَانِي. I stutter, I stammer. He made dua for Allah to strengthen him. And Allah answered his dua. He gave him Harun. He took away the stuttering. He gave him the strength and the courage to face Pharaoh. Okay? So that's first and foremost. Secondly, practice makes perfect. You learn a little bit about the theory of public speaking, the rules of public speaking, and after you learn some theory, you gotta practice. So the basic theory of public speaking is A, prepare for your public speech. If you don't prepare and review and rehearse, then you deserve to be nervous and you deserve to fail. It's just that simple. I have a khutbah to do today. They told me 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks, I didn't review, I didn't plan anything. You deserve to fumble and to stumble. That's your fault. So I have a khutbah to do in 2 weeks. I'm going to do that khutbah on Ana Madinatul Ilm wa Aliyun Babuha. I'm a city of knowledge, and Ali is his what? Is his gate. I'm going to memorize the hadith, I'm going to prepare the explanation, and I'm going to do my best to present what? The best thing that I can. If I make a mistake, if I slip, I'm going to come prepared. The khutbah is 30 minutes, no longer than 35 minutes. So our jokes aside, I'm going to do a khutbah on you can't be a believer until you love for your brother what you love for yourself. I'm going to prepare a speech for 90 minutes. Listen carefully. My speech, inshallah, is not going to be longer than 30 minutes. I'm going to prepare 90 minutes of speaking. Everyone understand the rule? 90 minutes. If you have a 10-minute talk, you need to have a 30-minute talk prepared. You need to have extra. Especially if you're a greenhorn, if you're a newbie, if you're new, you're going to forget, you're going to get nervous. You need to smother and saturate your heart and your brain with the information to give room to forget and to make a mistake. I have 5 hadiths to quote, but I only need 1. That is the rule. 10 ayat, but I'm only planning on mentioning 3. I may forget one, so I have a backup. So you must prepare, review, and rehearse. Say it out loud, say it to your friend, say it to your teacher, say it in the mirror. You must rehearse. The best performers rehearse. Secondly, you want to exclude or cancel any excuse externally from you speaking, such as your appearance. So my speech is good, it's prepared, but I'm insecure about my appearance. So let me do whatever I can to cancel that insecurity. Let me pick out something nice to wear, a neutral color, nothing too bright, nothing too dull. Let me iron it. Let me make sure I smell good. I have my hair cut. Let me do whatever I can. My posture, I'm not leaning over. I'm not scratching myself. I'm not saying, You want to do whatever you can to cancel out any other distraction from your speech. You want to give yourself the best chance to deliver your speech the best way. So your presentation is very important. How you look, your posture is very important. Number 3, avoid anything which causes you to be nervous. Whatever that thing may be. Reading from a paper cause you to be nervous, throw away the paper. Do not read from your phone if it's going to cause you to be nervous and a stutter. It's better for you to give a 5-minute talk from your heart than to give a 15-minute and you're scrolling and it's making you nervous and your palms are sweaty. Afterwards, you need to make healthy eye contact, meaningful eye contact, not just going around, but quick glance. And obviously, you have to have management of your tone and of your pace and of your cadence. Don't start your talk, assalamu alaikum. Pace yourself. There's a time in your speech in which is high, and there's a time in which is low. And you have to learn how to alternate between those tones and that cadence and the speed. And obviously that takes practice. So if you want to be a good speaker, you got to practice. Seek Allah's help first and foremost. Learn, rehearse, practice, and most importantly, you got to get your feet wet. Don't look at what you are now. Think about 3 years. Right now, I'm a poor public speaker. But if I keep speaking publicly for 3 years straight, how good will I become? So you have to have sabr. And of course, there are many, many other tricks of the trade. I've shared many with you tonight. There's more than enough. What's important is get started. Lose the nervousness and beware of the waswas. This will be our last question, and we take now, inshallah. Public speaking. Once again. So if I'm speaking and that what? Distracts me, then what? That's another part, concentration. There are many, many things. You could spend years just studying the fiqh of public speaking. Well, for sure, I had a chess teacher back in the day some years ago. He asked me, he says, what's the best way of learning how to play chess? I said, of course, reading the books about chess, watching YouTube videos and learning from people like you. He said, no. He said, the best way to learn chess strategy is playing chess. You got to get your hands busy. So start off with a free public speech that no one is really paying attention. Go to a hospital. Seriously. And I don't mean this disrespectfully or nothing. Go to a hospital, go to a hospice, go to a senior citizens home where nobody is, he said this, he said this. You go where you can just sharpen your blade. Give speeches where it doesn't count and matter, and gain the confidence and gain the mastery of you speaking publicly. I'm going to stand like this. I'm going to wear this. This cologne is too strong. This is too loud, right? I'm going to hold something. I'm going to read from something. I'm going to make a joke. That's a no-no in public speaking, making corny, stupid jokes, cliche jokes. You make a bad cliche joke, a cheesy joke intentionally, acknowledging that it's cheesy. You don't make a cheesy joke thinking that it's a genuine joke. And one of the worst ways of starting off a public speech is, how's everybody doing? Many brothers, they do this. How you guys doing tonight? La. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. It's not how you start off a public speech. You don't start off a public speech. That's too cliche. Unless you acknowledge that it's cheesy and corny and you get the people to make a joke. So there's a fiqh of the introduction, the breaking of the ice, the main topic, and the climax of your speech, and then toning it out and letting the crowd down. And at the end of the day, at the end of your public speech, you should have one or two people in the crowd, no third. Either someone who utterly loves you, wants to squeeze you to death, give you a bear hug, or someone that wants to kill you. And don't forget, our last gym that I'll say, we're all adults here, mature, inshallah. This is a gym. Wise man once said, Winston Churchill. Do I like him? Do I agree with him? Is he Muslim? No. He said, a good speech is like a woman's dress. It should be long enough to cover the subject, but short enough to create interest. Think about the fiqh of that. It should cover what needs to be covered, but not too long in which you think about what's a couple of inches or feet higher. Think about it. He made that statement in the 20s and the 30s when women wear longer dresses. Shouldn't be a potato sack, but at the same time, it's not supposed to be a mini skirt. So the talk is too long, too detailed. You bore the people. The talk was too short and they didn't get enough. So this person, I've made my point. They love it. You were talking about me. You changed my life. Or I hate you. If somebody's saying that they hate you after the speech, that means what? You did what? You drove your point home and that your words were impactful. So these are all secrets of public speaking. Ala hal balaghtu? Did I convey the clear message or not? Seriously. Wallahu a'lam. What's our last question, Nafis? Nothing about right-hand possessions or khawarij or nothing like that.
Initials AS from Helsingborg, Sweden. Assalamu alaikum. You wrote in your book that a disciple should always have his head covered when he goes out. Is it specific to Muslim headgear or can it be a baseball cap?
Muslim should always have his head covered when he's in public. We wrote this in the way of the disciple. There's no doubt about that. Is it specific or exclusive to Muslim wear? Yes and no. The no part is anything that covers your head. You can wear a beanie or a scully. I don't know if people still use that term back in the day, Yeah, scully, right? You can. It could be a cap as long as it's not haram. As long as it's what? Not haram. It doesn't have to be a kufi or a kifaya or a imam or whatever the case may be. That's fine. Your head being covered, some type of modesty. And at the same time, if you're a student of knowledge and a disciple, you should try your best to be distinguished as a Muslim. However, me personally, on a personal level, in the wintertime, I wear a scully with a thobe. And that scully is my imam. That's my rap, right? So your head being covered, yani. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Allah Azza wa Jalla surely knows best, and with him is all success. We ask him, the mighty and the most high, to forgive us of our sins and to make us better than what we previously were. to allow us to benefit from that which we have read and heard and studied. And يجعلنا من الذين يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله نبينا وإمامنا محمد وجزاكم الله خيرا.